All right. So, hello, one and all. As you can see, Wolfblade, yeah, you can. The pool is a give a penny, take a penny kind of a thing. So you can use most or all of it to help throw in towards a capsule. Now, as you all can see, we are going to be talking about Alien RPG, which is going to also involve an exploration in apex predators. So perhaps having a cat on camera is not such a bad idea. I'm going to save this other piece for her. Aha. Let's see if we can get a terrifying mouth of an incredibly feral beast. Nom 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 nom. It's gruesome, everyone. Look away. Okay. Capsules are more than $14 though, Wolfblade. There you go. Yep, with the new year, the capsules, the structure of them had to change. Because it wouldn't have been... She's looking into your soul. It wouldn't have been sustainable under the old method of things. So, you know, I have one more. But this is only for really good kitty cats. Are you a good kitty cat? Oh, you are. Look at her behave. So, why, if you were to walk into my store, you would see that the roleplay books are in one area together as a way to keep things condensed, and you would find titles. Maybe some of you have heard of something called Dungeons and Dragons. Maybe some of you have heard of Pathfinder or even Starfinder. Some of you might have heard of Battletech, and there is roleplay Battletech, not just the miniatures. But if we're talking about sci-fi, Battletech is a venerable sci-fi title. There's Star Wars and Star Trek. And you might go, what is this? Why would I pick up Alien? Yep, Dune as well. Dune is on the shelves. Cyberpunk, Shadowrun. Why would you want to pick this book up, right? It's $60. Give or take, depending on the retailer. It has a starter kit, has custom dice, has a GM screen. In fact, the starter kit has an adventure that's the first part of a 3-part set of stories you can get that will tell a tale using the system. There's a Colonial Marines book. So you might go over there, and there's soon to be a new one, but I'll show that off in a second. You might go, well, that can be, No, I do not have GURPS, Iron Chef. Want this last piece? My little apex predator. Yeah, is that what you do to mice? You want to do that to mice, but you don't, because you're a big softy. There is IP recognition, absolutely, Hero Dragon. And maybe that's what catches your attention, because whether or not you're an Alien fan, you've probably heard of the franchise. You might have played a video game, read a comic, seen one of the movies, read a novel, right? There's a lot of lore. And you might go, all right, so what is this about? Why or how is this $60? And in part, that is going to be, you could just be a super fan, and I don't need to explain anything to you in my store. I don't need to pitch anything to you, because you look at this, and you say, yep, here you go. I got one of these here. Let's just, you can have it, right? Throw it to you. Because there are definitely Alien fans out there, hardcore ones. Other people might just want to look for something new to try, and it's still no questions asked, but they may not be in it for the aliens per se, but they see this as something different, and they go, thank you. I don't want to play another game of Pathfinder. I don't want to play another game of D&D. Whether or not you have something against them, you want to try something else, and this is absolutely something else. You could approach this because you want to be not even just something else, you want to give a smaller publisher a chance. I'm not saying small, but because Free League does a lot of business in the role-playing community. In fact, Alien RPG was off of I think it was about $1 million Kickstarter, if I'm recalling correctly. And if that tells you something, $1 million Kickstarter, there's more than a couple of these books floating around. There are people who will want to play this game, to learn this game, or who already have the game. And they're willing to share. But what are the themes? Let's say you are completely alien to the concept of Alien. You go, okay, like creepy space monsters? I can dig it. You know, kind of looks horror, has a kind of a retro tech feel. Wasn't there a video game recently about that? Oh, Alien Isolation, which did pretty well for itself also. Pardon. So what's the pitch? Yep, there's even the crossover with the Yautja, the Predators. Though, so far, there's probably fan material to cross it over. So far, the Yautja are not in this. Could they be? Sure, they're in the movies, in the comics. I loved playing the AVP arcade cabinet when I was a kid. It was a lot of fun. I like the character Dutch, I believe. Dutch or Duke. He was the legally distinct, not Arnold Schwarzenegger, who had the big arm, and I liked him. Yeah, who's going to stop you from bringing him in? Or who's going to stop you from necessitating this has to be aliens, right? As per the movie franchise. You can, as with any system, you can strip out the details and replace concepts with something else, because there is going to be a lot. If you love rebranding, I was like playing the lady with the sword on the old arcade game. Sorry, I have a little sniffle in my nose. The Predator with the, like the light hunter, like with the spear, I think. That was if I went Predator, that was my favorite. Pardon. Yeah, they could be flesh-eating plants or zerglings or sentient psionic rock. Yep. So what is the gist? What is the mood, the atmosphere? You could play aliens with D&D 5e. Okay? You can. In fact, years ago, I had a lot of fun. I had someone who came into the channel was saying that they wanted to play Alien. I think this was before Alien RPG had come out. And we went over an entire way to go over it was off the cuff in the workshop how you could play an Alien game using 5e. You can rebrand anything into anything. So, when you have something on both sides of the equation, you tend to cut it out. I'll bring it up because it's there. But when you play a system, it tends to be because you want to explore that mood. Can you go on noble adventures as a bunch of good guys? It's kind of like you do in a classic fantasy game. In Vampire the Masquerade? Of course. Is the system built to have a noble, bright, style, whatever, defeat the monster, save the princess, act in the best faith of the kingdom or whatever, of the city? Not really. Can you do it? Absolutely. But you'll find that Vampire the Masquerade has a particular mood, has a particular set of mechanics that back up the themes of that game. D&D does. Pathfinder in that similar vein. And especially if you are playing a branded property, look at the Dune RPG. Look at The Expanse. Look at Star Trek and Star Wars. They will exist to better facilitate certain types of games than you could from others. And what does this game offer? You're approaching it, you're looking at the book or the starter set, which I think are both 60. The starter set comes with not like a big pretty book, but it does come with a rule book and the scenario and some dice. Space is vast, dark, and not your friend. Gamma rays and neutrino bursts erupt from dying stars to cook you alive. Black holes tear you apart. And the void itself boils your blood and seizes your brain. Just stop right there. First sentence. That's not the, kind of a roleplay intro. We're talking about boiling blood, seizing brains, these terrible things that can happen. This is setting the mood. Try to scream and no one can hear you. Hold your breath and you rupture your lungs. Space isn't as empty as you'd think either. Its frontiers are ever expanding. Rival governments wage a cold war of aggression, while greedy corporations vie for valuable resources. Colonists reach for the stars and gamble with their lives. Each new world tamed is either feast or famine. And there are things lurking in the shadows of every asteroid. Things strange and different and deadly. Things alien. This is the Alien role-playing game. A universe of body horror and corporate brinkmanship, where synthetic people play God, while space truckers and Marines serve as hosts to newborn ghoulish creatures. It's a harsh and unforgiving universe, and you are nothing if not expendable. Stay alive if you can. The titular alien, in all its iterations, is the stuff of nightmares. From neomorph to xenomorph, The mystique surrounding these creatures is mesmerizing. The alien represents everything we don't understand about the natural world. It evokes a fear of our bodies being violated and used. It is a parasitic invader whose only intent is to use humanity to breed and incubate its progeny. The alien life cycle is one of death and renewal, but the only part people play in that circle is death. But the alien saga itself is about more than otherworldly beasts. It is about humbling man for his own hubris. It's about motherhood and family, about loss and sacrifice. It wrestles with the questions of artificial intelligence and faith. The story of Alien is about creators and their creations, struggling for dominance over each other. It's about corporate greed and avarice, and it's about how superior firepower and fancy technology aren't enough to protect you from the horrors of the unknown. It's about pushing the envelope and sticking your nose where it doesn't belong. Consequences be damned before they damn you. The Alien role-playing game takes you to the rough and tumble colony worlds on the frontier of known space. It's on the cusp of this unforgiving place that your character must face their demons, both of the inner and other kind. Is that a good pitch? You think that sets the scene, the tone? Can that prepare you for the types of games that you'll play? Do any of you ever get thrills from horror? Or just thrills from the unknown? This is going to be a system to invoke that. And have a ton of fun doing it too. Because I'll tell you, especially here in the tabletop RPG category, you are going to be able to find people who are playing Alien RPG here on Twitch. And hey, if you're watching in the future on YouTube, hello future. And you can find people probably playing and posting Alien RPG on YouTube as well. That's where this workshop series will end up, so that others can find us too. Yes. Yes, Kaihira. Hello from the future. Space is hell. I can't lie to you about your chances, but you have my sympathies. I hope this is ramping you up. Now, is every game of Alien going to have an alien? No. You can play this system and never encounter a xenomorph and still have a lot of fun exploring, some thrills and jumps, horror. Because there is a lot that goes on here. You have political turmoil between the factions, the Union of Progressive Peoples, the Three World Empire, independent core system colonies, the United Americas, and the Frontier. So we have political drama and corporate espionage, corporate warfare. You have themes of morality to play into. The decisions you make for your own survival, for that of others, for duty to your government, or duty to your corporation, your job, duty to your family or self. You get to ask yourself, are you willing to be a space trucker that goes all the way from Tanaka's star down here, hauling cargo to Grendel Pardon me. To Grendel. Knowing that you'll have to hypersleep. Otherwise you'll just age, right? And while you're sleeping, how vulnerable are you to pirates? To just going into hypersleep and not waking up because of a miscalculation from your nav computer. Just average life in a galaxy like this is stressful enough. Just doing your job. You don't need aliens. You don't need to worry about rogue AI or synths trying to destroy you. Yeah, the years that you won't see your family. Exactly, IMW. So you can see that, yes, the alien, boom, that is usually the big draw. That is the catch. That's what, you know, it's like when the zoo gets a new, like, I don't know, a new panda's born. Everyone goes to the zoo. The alien, the xenomorph, is the new, it's the baby panda. Oh, isn't it cute? See the way it just burst out of that chest? It's the poster boy. But there's so much more. And I can assure you that this system will play in to the backstabbing. Will play into the personal goals over a broader one. It's not that you all can't be a cohesive ship crew or a security team reporting for duty on a space station or a group of space truckers. Y'all have been doing this for years. You burp, fart, and cuss in front of each other, and now you're tested. Because your ship's out of control, careening towards a star. And that's enough to increase the stress of the crew. To find out, can you get the comms to work? Can you bring navigation back online? Can you wake up in time at the proximity alarms of a pirate vessel looking to try and claim you and your ship while you're in hypersleep? So there's a lot here to enjoy. It doesn't always have to be about aliens. Because, well, we talked about this in another workshop around Halloween last year about the nature of horror, what it means for thrill, what it means for suspense. And usually once the monster is revealed, it loses a lot of the mystery, and mystery is what brings about the horror. It, you know, the anticipation is paid off, but then now you're left with, what are you going to do with it now that you have it? Now, this system does have, I guess you could say, kind of a quick play. Or it can support long campaigns. You want to play a 2-year-long story with the chessboard moves of corporations across worlds? You can do that. What you're going to see featured on the channel starting this Tuesday, and for the next 2 Tuesdays after that, we are going to be going into the cinematic style of play. Right? There's cinematic play and campaign play. By the way, you'll notice this book, it's not a 600-page ponderous tome. It's 150 to 200, depending on, I forget how it's counted. No, what do I have? It says 400 up there, but I think it's 200 because it's showing 2 pages at a time. No, is it? Is it actually? Oh, but a lot of this is, yep. You're not allowed to look at that. I don't want to spoil anything for those of you. There's a playable story in the back, and there's a ton of gear and illustrations and loadouts. So 400, but the rules are maybe in the first half, and the book is very generous with art. And if you want to see the rules, you see how the rules are laid out? So it's pretty easy to reference. The rules are compartmentalized and made to look, they're thematic in appearance, and they're easy to read through. See, here's 2 pages of a 400-page book. And all this talks about is your stress level. But you can glean so much from all of the art. There is so much art in this book. You can just look at scenes and find inspiration for a story or a dramatic moment. Awkward Mancer, says, terror is deadly, horror is intangible and incomprehensible. Now, tonight, we are not going to go through all of these rules. You can see that they're here. Do you have to measure every single thing? Do you have to know every single rule that's going on here? No, I don't want you to. You can always reference them while you're playing, but first and foremost, with any role-playing game, if you have a story in your heart, I want you to tell it. I want you to tell your game or to tell your story, or if you're buying a pre-written game, I want you to present it. Now, we talked about we talked about the cinematic, or at least I brought it up. I brought up that there is a cinematic form of play. And I believe yeah, here we go. We have PCs and GMs. In this game, by the way, you are the game mother. The final player is the game mother, or GM for short. She describes the alien universe to you. She portrays all the people and creatures you meet during the game. Characters controlled by the GM are called non-player characters, or NPCs. A lot of this you may know, but this is a fun distinction. Usually you have Dungeon Master, Game Master, Storyteller. Well, here it's GM, but it's Game Mother, which is thematic also to this franchise. The Alien role-playing game can be played in 2 distinct modes: cinematic play and campaign play. These modes are each designed to create a different experience for you. Even some rules of the game only apply to one of the 2 game modes. Such rules are marked with the symbol of each game mode, see below. A cinematic scenario emulates the dramatic arc of an Alien film. Designed to be played in a single session, this game mode emphasizes high stakes and fast and brutal play. Conflict between player characters is likely, and you are not all expected to survive. In fact, most of your PCs probably won't live to see the end of the scenario. One complete cinematic scenario, Chariot of the Gods, is already available for separate purchase. This pre-generated scenario provides all the tools necessary to run your first Alien role-playing game, and that's in the starter set. For a quick taste of cinematic gameplay, see Hope's Last Day in Chapter 13. I am not going to reveal that because I want that to be special to you all. This is not what we're going to play on the channel either, because it's going to be a custom story made to feature my players' characters. More cinematic scenarios will be published by Freely Publishing in the years to come, and this is true. It is a 3-part story right now that it's up to, which they can all be played independently. You don't have to connect them. If you wish to, you may. Campaign play. Campaign play is designed for longer Uh-oh. Wolfblade.
Capsule, please, and try into pool.
Oh, very well. All right, Wolfblade. I will be happy to do that. I will. Let me finish the talk in the workshop here for the introduction, and I will get you a capsule here. And let me know if you want a main course capsule or a snack bowl capsule. Both tiers are the same price, but the contents of the prizes are what's different. In campaign play, you create your own PCs using the rules in Chapter 2. Campaign play can also be brutal and deadly, but the chances for your PCs to survive a night of play are generally higher than cinematic play. In campaign play, the narrative of the game is to a higher degree controlled by the GM and the players themselves. You decide where to go and what to do based on who your PCs are and what they want. This core book of the Alien role-playing game supports 3 different campaign frameworks: Space Truckers, Colonial Marines, and Frontier Colonists. These campaign frameworks and tools for how to run them can be found in Chapter 12 of the book, along with the Novgorod station scenario location. Source books and other supplements for campaign play will be published by Free League in the years ahead, and they have done that. And we're going to get to that here really, really soon. I'll let you pick for me. Well, one is pre-painted minis from the new set of Sand and Stone. The other is the variety, right? Unpainted stuff, and combos of minis and things like that. So I guess it depends more on what you want. Pre-painted or unpainted and miscellaneous. Now, what you're going to see presented on Tuesdays here, campaign play with a bit more spice from cinematic. There are going to be very deadly things that will happen. There could be ways out of it for the players, depending on the choices they make, and, well, cinematic play is to encourage you to play your game like the movie. If you were to play Mutants and Masterminds, main, alright, I'll pull a main for you in just a little bit here, Wolfblade. Give me a little bit of patience and I will get you your capsule. Just like in Mutants and Masterminds, where the rules for the game support the fact that you are playing in a comic book. You can develop a comic book story. The mechanics support comic book style characters. The cinematic play does encourage you to have that take of an example. And again, I'm not going over hard rules. This is still a casual approach. I'm trying to give you the pitch. You have ammo until you don't. Do you have to track how many liters of oxygen you have in your system, in your space station or whatever, or your suit? No. Do you have to track every single bullet you fire? Mm-mm. Because the mechanics in the game are as such where your critical successes are called stunts, and you get to do extra fun things. And if you stress out too much, as is what happens in a horror movie, that's when things like you mag dump. All your ammo's gone. I hope you have a reload. That's when you snag your air hose on something at really the opportune time. And how many times have you watched a movie? You know, you're sitting there, you know, the babysitter is getting amorous with the guest that she's not supposed to have over, and the phone rings, and you're in the audience going, "Don't answer that phone. I know what's going to happen." These are the types of visceral and imaginative styles of play that this system wants to invoke with you. That fast-paced, don't get caught up in the details, have fun, and lean into this like you are in a movie. And are you gonna die? You might. Because that happens in the movies. But how can you still have fun with it? Especially if it's a one-shot or, I don't know, a 3-shot adventure, maybe? I don't know. Maybe 3-shot is more into campaign play, right? I did have a conversation with Awkward Mancer and the others that if any of them were to die, there is a plan for it carried forward. So don't just up and leave, because it is a deadly system, and but I understand that as their game mother. All right. What are the odds? Well, 1 in 4, Awkward Mancer. Maybe I shouldn't speak with such specificity on that, but there are 4 of you, and you are the main characters of this story. Clearly, nothing can go wrong, right? So, key themes: space horror, sci-fi action, sense of wonder. You are getting the Babby's first guy. Like, if this is your first RPG you've ever played, there's a lot of presentation like this to help you understand, help get you immersed, and help get you in the mood, in the feeling. Right? What is a role-playing game? Well, now the books, unless your FLGS takes them out of the shrink wrap, the books come shrink wrapped, I think, because of the horror elements. I mean, what could go wrong in a picture like this, right? Now, this picture itself is probably innocuous enough, especially if people don't know what's going to happen. But it does come shrink wrapped. So if you bought this, they're taking that into consideration. Maybe this is going to be, Babby's first RPG. We want to make sure it's here. So for a lot of you, you might go, this is redundant, or, do they really have to say this stuff? I get it, because you get these, disclaimers and other things that come at the beginning of all other books. It's here. Yeah, so there's a lot more here. You can read, you can tell from the presentation, this is a super easy layout. There's not a lot to overwhelm you. It's not rules light, I would say, because you do have a fair amount of options, but this is not an Awkward Mancer. I mean, in your opinion, I wouldn't call this an especially crunchy system. This isn't micromanaging. This is not you have a stat and a skill for everything, because you don't. It leaves a lot to your imagination because it's supposed to tap into it. Pardon. It's supposed to tap into your imagination to get you to ask questions and not get hung up on the minutia. If you're having a tense chase sequence, the space station is exploding behind you, and you need to get to that bulkhead and slam the button to close the door. The creators do not want you to say, okay, well, that's cool, but you know what? We got to look in 5 different places in the rule book to find out how this is gonna work, because there's a rule for everything. Are you running on carpet? Are you running on metal? Are you running in low gravity or no gravity? How icy is it? Well, there's a modifier. There's not. I'm throwing out things that could exist in other systems. And some people, they want the crunch. They love it. They eat up the crunch. Crunch, crunch, crunch. If someone is looking for their first RPG, I would not recommend it. On roleplay to roleplay scale, this one is heavily skewed to the right. As the first, I guess so. Like, I wouldn't tell someone that not to play this as their first, but it is less crunchy, in my opinion, than other systems, especially sci-fi systems. No, it's not very crunchy. There's a lot of lore. There's a lot of room to imagine. If you are a fan and you know the lore, right? You know the lore. You can bring a ton to the table as well, especially if you're the game mother. But yeah, if you're seeing this, please absorb the haunting beauty and just appreciate the ton of art that's here, and realize, oh, we're at the classes already. They're roles in D&D terms. That's how most of us have met, is through D&D. Wow, if you want to play a wizard, it's not it's not so succinct, right? Even if you want to play a rogue or something, this is leaving a lot for you to imagine and for you to inject into your game. Now, if I bring this down a little bit here, you can see that we have things ready to go. Well, not ready 100%. There's some work I got to do this week to get everything at 100%. But we have our Roll20 game. I'm super serious about it. We're playing this, so you'll get to see it play live. Hi, Valendar. Hello. And you can always go to. I'll share the link. Yeah, this coming Tuesday is session 1. Because the world exploded around me, Valendar, and I could not present to you yesterday. Little minute long. If that splash didn't get you, there's another system that you might enjoy, but that's going to give you a lot of the core concepts. It's going to get you in the mood to build the excitement and give you an idea of what combats will probably be like, the types of disasters and urgency and panic that you might face. Valendar says, by the way, an argument over what is Galactic East is that the Tau are said to come from spawned. From Galactic East is that the Tau are said to come from spawned a massive discussion about galactic coordinates and how to interpret them in a different channel. Turns out the direction from Earth to the galactic core is north. So the tail end of the Perseus arm is in the Galactic East. Awkward Mancer says, the reason I said what I did about the first RPG, heavily roleplay systems with low crunch put significant burden on the GM. And right. So if it's your first to run, yeah, unless you were maybe a super fan and caught on quickly, that would help. As a player, I think it wouldn't be too bad as a player because of the rules lightness to it. Now, the workshop that we were working on was building a world from scratch. This was going somewhere. And Alien RPG, because it talked about the books to come, is putting out building better worlds. Oh yeah, that's for Blade Runner, which is not on the docket for this year unless you all voted on it. You all want to vote on it for December. But this is yet another one of the RPGs that Free League does publish. But Building Better Worlds is a book that will support, I believe, campaign expansion. So you can build worlds, you can build your own settings more and more, and keep it very tightly thematic with everything else that's out there. And if some of you out there haven't built your own worlds, or wanted to get things going that on some sort of socioeconomic level, or introduce various biologies and environments, this should be a book to help you with that in the alien sense. IMW says it was hinted that Alien and Blade Runner are in the same universe. Awkward Mancer says, as a player with an experienced GM, you'll have a blast, but that's true with most systems. So there's a lot here. This has been out since 2019. It did very, very well on Kickstarter. This is in a very candid take. I don't know if it's necessarily a hot take. When it comes to properties based off of something else, a movie, right? How many of you have ever seen, a new Disney movie comes out and then, like, man, they have a video game out like 1 month afterwards. And those games are usually just churned out. They're just like whatever, money grabs, and it can't, you're like, this will never out survive or out thrive the property to which it's attached. With how strong and prevalent Alien is in all kinds of media for a very long time now, this is and with how they have conducted themselves, I mean, as a company, I have not heard much, if anything, bad about Free League. But as the game too, I mean, will it have flaws? Sure, I'm sure you could look at anything. And are there home rules or a lot of people do? Probably. But this isn't a pump and dump license grab for cash. It's been around, it has survived through the pandemic. It has supplements that have come out, and it does what it needs to do well. And so if you are looking for a new game, or just a game in general, and this speaks to you, you go, yeah, D&D has skeletons, and I don't know, you can find other things in other properties. You're like, okay, yeah, but this gets you going, the mood, the style. Then I carry this because I do believe in it. I've played it, I've ran it, even before what's going to happen on the channel here. As a game master, my hardest part isn't running the game or creating a setting. It's actually coming up with the story for the game, says Valendar. I sincerely hope you all will like what I'm presenting to you. I am crossing my fingers, and I'm hoping that I've done as good a job as can be expected. I will meet or far and above surpass your expectations, Valendar. Awkward Mancer says, I'm shamelessly abusing the fact that I read more than most players in more languages than they know. Plagiarize, plagiarize, plagiarize. Yeah, and hey, you know what? If you like one of the Alien movies, run it in this system, either directly or as a thinly veiled as a thinly veiled something else. So I do recommend it. It uses a bunch of D6s. There are custom dice for it. Do you need the custom dice? No. If you can read the number 1 and the number 6 on dice you already have, you have all you need. Do you want the thematic dice that go with this game? They're cool, and they definitely convey what you're looking for in the shorthand that's printed out for successes and failures. But it has what you need. out there, and they're continuing to build upon it and expand it. And with as successful as the Kickstarter is, there's a lot of other people that have heard of it, and some of the people might even have it. Or you can find others online and said, "Yeah, I supported this. I have this." Maybe they've been looking for a game forever, and they want to run. They just need the players. Or you want to run, and you need players, people who are brave enough to step up into a more tense or intense role playing system, and that's what you're going to get here. Now, I hope I'm not always taking 50 minutes to explain this to someone who walks into the store, goes over to the RPG books, looks at it, and I go, "Oh, whoa." And then I come over and geek out and alienate them, scare them off. It's usually a lot more succinct, but here online we have the ability to sit down together to talk about this, and so it is a little bit slower. Like you're here. We already have a rapport, and that um, this isn't some high pressure thing in a store. Although hopefully you've never had a high pressure sale in a friendly local game store. Um, but that's a conversation for another time. But that's why I carry it. That's why I recommend it. And that's why I'm glad to teach it here with you all. And now that we've had this initial, uh, in itself, a role play session, we've role played walking into a store. We saw the book, we picked it up, and we got the pitch. And we said, okay, I get it. I like it. I want to give it a try. So, what can I expect? And that's what tomorrow's broadcast will be about. We'll start getting into the rules. We'll start going over some things, the mechanics of it. And you'll see that it's not terribly crunchy. It's very consumable and approachable. And we'll probably have a two-parter. We'll see if we need a two-parter. It'll at least be the one. But now that we've established the interest, we know the themes, we know that, okay, it's cool. Like our role play game is actually like a movie. We're playing in our own. Yeah, you are. And I want you to have a blast with it. So let's look at how we can make that happen. And so, step by step, that's how we get through it. Next week, we're going to make some characters, which doesn't take very long at all. Character creation is pretty straightforward. And in the final week 3, we're going to talk about how to make your own story using the system. Because now we have a basic understanding of the mechanics available. We know how to make characters that can be tested by those mechanics and interact with them. And then we're going to look at those 4 characters we're going to make. And we are going to create a story around them, which is also going to play along with, hopefully, what you see presented on the role-playing sessions here on the channel. Oh, I missed some stuff in chat. Sorry, everyone. Valandar the Red says, I actually started with a mission from one of the zones in Elder Scrolls Online, made it even weirder, and tied more to my setting, then took it from there to decide what the campaign was about. It began with an ancient fortress whose battle to control it 2,000 years ago started happening again every day with the risen skeletons and ended with fighting a newborn demon prince in a castle in the swamp. Awkward Mancer says, I pilfered episodes from Zhanzia, Russian sci-fi, Polish Witcher before the games came out, Zelazny's less known books, and even Moomin Trolls stories. Terran Wanderer, hello. Alien the RPG seems pretty solid. I have read through it all. Character creation is simple. Here, you get this many points, put it in your attributes. You get this many points, put it in your skills. Choose a couple options. Bada bing, bada bang, bada boom. Forget about it. You got a character. Well, if it isn't Cloaking Dust. You just came in to say hi, and I'm rattling you here. Hi, Cloaking. I hope you're doing well. So yeah, do give it a look. If your local game store carries it, whether it's the book, the full rule book, or you get the starter, which has rules and a beginning adventure in it too. I'm biased. Please do. Now, if you don't have a friendly local game store and you'd like one, well, if I don't shill for myself, who the heck will? Let me be. I may not be your local game store, but I'll be your friendly remote game store, and I'd be happy to help not only get the book in your hand, but you have an entire community here of people with whom you can ask questions, you can talk to, you can get some mentoring on, you can, and of course, in this workshop time. So if I can help you as well, I will. Otherwise, you have a good relationship with your friendly local game store, and if they don't carry it, talk to whoever's behind the counter. Who makes the orders? Do you know the owner, the manager? Do you know whatever the new guy who was hired? And it's a suggestion you can give to that person to pass along and go from there. But especially with new or alternative role playing games like this, game stores need to hear that you have an interest in them to even consider getting them in. You don't always, I mean, maybe some places will say, no, it has to be a pre sale to make sure that the cost and everything is covered, which is understandable. But communicate. If you see this now here on Twitch, later on YouTube, talk to your FLGS. Talk to them about carrying this, about putting it on their shelf, about getting something going. You have a lot of knowledge now. You have more than an elevator pitch to be able to sell this game to the ordering manager of your FLGS. Let alone that you can now talk about this game enough to get people interested. And I'll tell you, there's nothing more than a game store would love if an entire group of 4 or 5 people came in and all threw down together on a system. Because that is more than enough books turned over at once, that not only can they put the books and the stories and the supplements in your hands, that gives them a little bit of extra budget wiggle room to make sure that there's a spare copy on the shelf, and hopefully get someone else into it too. So that's the meta from the FLGS side, and I wanted to conclude with that just because, look, FLGS, it's here, and I want you to know not just, oh, you can spend money at your store. Of course you can. That should be like obvious, blatant. But I want to teach you also how you can interact with your store so that you can be that nucleus for a group. You can be that dynamo that provides energy and knowledge to your store's customer base. Or you might go, you know what, I love this game, I've been playing forever, but I want to try something else. And this is your chance to step up and rise and shine in your store's community, because we rely on people like you to do that, to talk about this stuff with others, to bring in your play group, to either make a pre-order, or there's so many more of you than there are of me. And I unfortunately don't have a sexy no jutsu. I can't make attractive clones of myself. There's only one of me. I can only pay attention to so much, but there's a lot of you out there who see different things than I do, who live different lives than I do. And so when you take some time to watch a video like this, you're actually getting to empower yourself with knowledge to be able to go into your store and to make this as a suggestion, or to confidently order it, to show them some support and to get something going for yourself too. In the grand scheme of things, if this book is $60 on the shelf of your FLGS, that could very well be almost a night at the movies. I mean, depending on how many people go. Role-playing games are such an amazing economical source of entertainment. I can't stress that enough. And I hope that whether it's this system or another, that this is something you do want to invest in. You go, yeah, you know what? I could actually see an Alien movie. I mean, let's pretend one came out in the movie theaters. You know, I could go see one with some friends and it would be almost $60 and I'd get an hour and a half, 2 hours of entertainment. Or you could put that into this book and play for years and have stories that are arguably better than what the movie scripts are. Everyone has their favorite. Some people like 3, some people don't. Some people like 4 or even Covenant or Promethean. Some people don't. By the way, black goo and stuff like that is in this book. So if you want to play Promethean, you can also play Promethean with Alien RPG. Yeah, these days it's not hard to find a better to have your tabletop experience be better than the entertainment being streamed out right now, huh? A movie and a TV show, says IMW. And happy birthday to you, Cloaking Dust. So it is Wolfblade's birthday and Cloaking Dust's birthday. Well, I'll tell you what, I think we finished up this workshop, and I have a capsule to pull for Wolfblade. So let's get to it. And if any of you are watching on YouTube in the future, I'm sorry, but I'm gonna have to cut this video off before we get to the good stuff of what this prize capsule is. So I guess you're just gonna have to join us here on Twitch so you can see what all this is about, and maybe you can get a cool prize out of it too. Especially because we got some, as of the recording, we got some big juicy prizes out right now. I'm not giving away the store, but it's close.